You can probably tell just by the thumbnail alone that we have some very nice new sales this week on the Nintendo eShop. I think we've got a really nice selection here of physical and digital sales, including a hidden gem and a kids pick as well, and then a couple of games you should avoid because they smell badly. And congratulations to the person whose name is on the screen. You won the free game from last week's episode. If you'd like to take part in the giveaway that happens each week, simply leave your normal comments down below and let me know what you've been playing and hopefully what you've managed to complete from your backlog. We reviewed Pokemon Legends last week and I thought it was alright, but I have been slightly perplexed by the fact that Pikachu says Beaker. Like, I'm sure when I was a kid it was Pika Pika, not Beaker Beaker. Someone help me out here. With that complete segue out the way, what's on sale this week? Well, let's find out. First up then we've got Hades, and probably featuring on the thumbnail, this one's 35% off. That's the cheapest it's ever been. This is on sale until February the 16th, and absolutely anyone who's played it is going to tell you it's a brilliant game, but the fact that it's now its cheapest ever, I can guarantee you will see this one in every single sales video this week. Comes from developer and publisher Supergiant Games. They created the excellent Bastion and Transistor titles, and Hades almost feels like a refinement of the formulas that they created in there. It's a top-down, a roguelite, featuring very fast action-based combat. There are lots of different skills and abilities, and while it's a quite simplistic premise of moving room to room and facing different untold enemies and then selecting your next path before getting dominated by a ridiculously difficult boss and trying it all again with slightly different setups and loadouts, it is so addictive, but it's also really slick and well presented. You can check out our full review of this one. I'll pop a link to that in the description if you're interested. It has a download size of 5.7 gigs, and you're looking at about 50 to 100 hours of gameplay here. It is single player only. Apologies in advance, this is probably going to make you hungry. HelloFresh have provided us with a pretty sweet discount code, so stick around to the end of this section. Just by the nature of being a bit of a hardcore gamer, as well as running this channel, I end up sat around not being very active for a lot of the time, and always start out the year trying to make new resolutions. And that's where HelloFresh might come in useful for you. They provide all the ingredients and recipes for you delivered straight to your door. It's made it much easier to keep the resolutions and get control over the food choices, rather than it be cake or more cake. It's also fresh ingredients delivered from the farm to your doorstep, typically in under a week. Because it's all tailored to you, you're going to cut down on your waste, and everything, including the packaging, is recyclable. You're probably hungry now, let's be honest. If you use our link or go to hellofresh.com and use the code POGSWITCHUP16, then you can get up to 16 free meals and free surprise gifts across 6 HelloFresh boxes, plus free shipping. The gifts include free appetizers, free desserts, and free premium recipes. If you want to support the channel and save on HelloFresh, use the links in the top pinned comment. Each week we have a range of different JRPGs go on sale. This week I've picked out the two best, and yes, you guessed it, it's Ni no Kuni and Tales of Vesperia. They're on sale all the time, but there's a reason they're doing this. It's because they're selling so well, because they're great games. And at these prices, they're just essential pickups. They're 80% off, and Ni no Kuni has a bit of a Pokemon collecting side to it. However, Vesperia is more of your traditional, in air quotes, JRPG experience. They're both very good games, and they're both well worth a pickup. So this week, if you're looking for a JRPG, then consider either one of these. There are many good reviews of them out. I really am hoping we see the other Tales games come to the Switch. My physical pickup this week here in the UK is Little Dragon's Cafe. It's only £11.99 at your local Argos, that's 73% off, a real bargain. I have just purchased this one and will have to go and pick it up, but Glenn's played the game and really enjoyed it. Now, I think the only issue we really had was with some of the loading times, but I don't think my daughter's going to care about that. It's basically a story of you and your twin brother, and you're running a small cafe and raising a dragon. I mean, what could be more awesome than that for a kid? It looks to combine compelling simulation with some RPG mechanics, and it's another one you could easily sink 50 to 100 hours into. If you're not someone that's easily bothered by things like load times, it's well worth considering at this very, very low price. If you're in the US regions, there are a couple of places you can get it slightly cheaper. I believe Walmart through third parties and Amazon as well. Let me know any others in the comments. For physical in the US then, I've picked out Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. This at the moment is 45% off at Amazon, GameStop and Walmart, and it's also 40% off on the Nintendo eShop, so it's for everyone. In the UK, you can pick it up at shop2.net at 32% off, so not quite as cheap, but still a nice little discount. Sakuna was a really interesting hybrid of simulation, farm simulation actually, where you're tending to your rice paddy, where you're playing as the goddess Sakuna herself, who's been banished. And between tending to that rice paddy with that Japanese perfectionism, you're going out on 3D action expeditions, fighting different enemies and then bringing resources back home. It's a very unique feeling game. I haven't played anything quite like this one, and it was developed by a really small team, which I've got all the time in the world for. It's incredibly impressive, really. It has a 6.3 gigabyte download. You're looking at 50 to 60 hours of gameplay in total, and do check out Glenn's review if you're interested in a bit more detail. Terraria, or Flat Minecraft as my daughter calls it, sacrilege I know, is a survival, crafting, action sandbox game and has actually seen quite a large update since it launched on Switch. It's known as Journey's End, and in total it now has 5,000 items, 25 NPCs, and over 400 different enemy types. There's absolutely loads that you can do here. They've updated and changed some of the quality of life improvements, and while the Switch version always seems to be slightly behind that of the PC, there's still an incredible amount, and it's a better game now than it was at launch. There's also full touchscreen support here, which in my opinion is underutilized in a lot of games. It's got a Super Diddy download size of just 391 megs. It has 1 to 8 player online play, and it's been a while, I haven't checked recently, but has this one had local co-op added in? I know you had to use 2 Joy-Cons, you couldn't just use a single one, but yeah, you'll have to let me know that one. As you'd expect for this genre, it's hundreds of hours to do everything. That sale goes on until February the 8th. This one is UK region only, I'm afraid, and it's my guilty pleasure in terms of games, and that's old school point and clicks. The Deponia series at the moment, they're 90% off. You can pick up all 4 games for under a tenner. That's an absolute bargain. They're very good, well written, well narrated, and they're reasonably challenging. You'd be mad. I mean, if you're at all a fan of point and click adventures, these are worth it at this price. They're developed and published by Daedalic Entertainment, and around about 8 to 10 hours to finish each one, depending on your lateral thinking skills. Some of the puzzles are a tiny bit ludicrous, but for the most part, they're okay enough. You know, you might have to go away and come back like you did back in the olden days, but generally very good games and well worth it at this price. If you're a fan of XCOM and tactical turn-based titles, don't sleep on Fort Triumph, even if the visuals make you feel like you've just walked into 1999 World of Warcraft. It's genuinely a very good game. You can use boulders and items from the environment as projectiles, and there's RPG leveling for your different heroes. You will find 1 to 8 player online here. Let's be honest, it's probably not going to be that populated, although there's usually a spike after a big sale. The single player is going to take around about 7 to 10 hours, and it's got a decent soundtrack. It might just give you that tactical turn-based fix, and at half price until February the 27th, not a bad price at all. Then we've got Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle. This is an excellent game, and we all know the sequel is just around the corner, but I should imagine there are lots of people that haven't actually played it yet. It's another one that in many ways uses some of the XCOM style gameplays, but there are also some really nice refined slick systems that manage to put emphasis on individual characters and their own abilities. Now in the UK, this one's not on sale on the eShop, but it is on sale on Amazon at 43% off, down to £16.99. In the US, you're looking at an eShop sale of 75% off. off, and that's until February the 10th. There are a lot of DLCs for this one, including the Donkey Kong Adventure Pack, which is also half price. It carries a 2.9GB download, and it was quite surprising at launch, really, to see Nintendo teaming up with Ubisoft to bring us their most beloved characters in a different way. I think it was more surprising how good it was. You're looking at close to 50 hours if you want to do absolutely everything. Alright, we're finishing up then with a couple of hidden gems before we look at those two games you should avoid. First up, we've got Cyber Shadow, another one we've reviewed on the channel, and which is currently 30% off in the US regions. This 8 to 10 hour adventure comes from the legendary publisher Yacht Club Games, but was developed by Mechanical Head Studios. It says a lot that Yacht Club got behind this one. It very much encapsulates some of the old school classics of the genre, and that certainly extends to the storyline, with maniacal doctors and ninjas abound. And as you progress through the story, you'll unlock new and permanent ninjutsu skills and abilities. You'll be using throw-in stars, running up walls, and there's a quality soundtrack here from Enrique Martin. You can also use your Shovel Knight amiibo if you've got it, which will spawn a familiar into the game. Very cool. It's 315 megs and on sale until February the 16th. As you'll know if you've been watching long enough, every week I also partake in some backlog abuse, and this week I'm also going to call it a hidden gem because it's been way better than I thought it would be, and it's Banner of the Maid. Now, sorry, my fellow countrymen, this one is US region only, but we all know how easy it is to pick up eShop vouchers and just buy US games using an account on your Switch. Use our website and a VPN. This one at the moment is half price, taking it down to $8.49, and it's set in the 18th century and is a tactical turn-based strategy game focusing in and around the French Revolution. There are 30 different maps here, although I've probably only done 2 or 3. I really like the art style. I think it looks great. There's RPG mechanics here in that you can level up your character's abilities and traits, and it gave me a bit of Romancing of the Three Kingdoms vibes at times with some of the larger scale battles. This one released all the way back in 2020, but I've got to be honest, I'd never heard of it until this sale. It's around 50 to 60 hours to do everything, and there's a decent storyline. Plus, I do like the artwork. Yep, this is my hidden gem in this sale for this week. That's on sale until February the 10th. As a massive Dark Souls fan, I was super excited for Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption, but unfortunately it's just not very fun at all. It's essentially a boss rush title, and it could have been incredible, but it just tries too hard. It really does. I mean, you've got to kind of play it to understand what I'm talking about. It tries too hard to capture that Souls-like aspect, and it doesn't really achieve it. It ends up being a bit frustrating, bang average, and yeah, the developer obviously have the skills to do something better, and I hope they actually go for a fully open world adventure using what they've learned here. But for me, nah, I could easily avoid this one. It's got to be Summer in Mara this week for me. The game just wasn't fun at all. It was the ultimate fetch quest, and I don't mind fetch quests. I come from a background playing classic JRPGs where that was like the bread and butter, but they're so incredibly mundane, and it doesn't respect the player's time. The base building and crafting, as well as the farming aspects, just aren't fun. They're not well implemented, and yeah, it's a very low price at the moment, 60% off, so I can imagine some people seeing this and being like, yeah, that looks great, I'll have a bit of that action. I'd strongly recommend you don't. It's terrible. I didn't like it at all. As a kids game, maybe, but for anyone else, no. And that is it for this week. Thanks to all of you that watch the channel, that enjoy the content. I'm still thinking about that Pokemon thing. I want to know if Pikachu really did always say Beaker Beaker instead of Pika Pika. I'm gonna have to rethink my life. But all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Plus, I'm really hungry now after making that HelloFresh advert. Cheers, guys. See ya!